The Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Ministers, Cabinet Ministers, Leader of the Opposition, fellow Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, I warmly greet you this morning. I would also like to welcome those joining us through live stream from across the globe. Madam Deputy Speaker, before I proceed on my ministerial statement, I join the Honorable Prime Minister and other members of Parliament to express how sad we are, how frightening it is to see escalation of domestic violence in our nation. Our prayers to the families. It's a wake-up call for the people of Fiji. Sa kerkeritiko, Siromi Turaga,
Ladies and gentlemen,
kerkeritiko na lotu, kerkeri na vunua, kerkeri na vuvale. Wabulidir na lubenda. Mi bir lubenda tangani na salu na donu. Roko vira na watina.
our children respect their wives.
This must stop. I know that my Minister for Women will join later, give a ministerialism. I feel I'm obligated to stand before this House and share our thoughts to the people of Fiji. Sarotamanda, Sautmanda.
Enough.
Madam Speaker, I rise to provide Parliament with an update on the Ministry of Justice Public Awareness Outreach, the election reform, and the progress of the new initiative of the Law and Justice Sector Reform Initiative. From September to November 2024, the Ministry of Justice successfully conducted a series of awareness campaigns in various locations across Fiji. Koro, Levuka, Tailevu, Lambasa, Rotuma, Naitasiri, Nandronga, Nandi, Lotoka, Ba, Serua, and Suva. During these campaigns, births, death, and marriages registry services accessed by a total of 651 people, covering a range of services, including new and late birth registrations, printing of birth, marriage and death certificates, and court marriages. Over the same period and location, the Registry of Companies recorded 1,235 individuals accessing its services, which included the new business registration, business renewals, printing services, and general inquiries. Madam Deputy Speaker, from January to March 2025, the Ministry continued its outreach efforts delivering services in Ngau, the Konrobe, Rotuma, Levuka, Tailevu, Rewa, and Ra. Within this time, the BDM registry recorded 591 individuals accessing its services, while the Registry of Companies recorded 772 individuals utilizing its services. These figures demonstrate the continued commitment of the Ministry of Justice to bring essential services closer to the people, particularly those in rural and maritime areas, ensuring inclusivity and accessibility for all Fijians and leaving no Fijian behind. Previously, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Justice did not conduct awareness campaign at the scale and frequency that we are now undertaking. Within the Ministry of Justice, now operating as a standalone ministry, it has allowed for me and the Minister for Justice, together with the Assistant Minister, Honorable Ratu Chosaya Nyundamu, to be fully committed to ensuring that the ministry's services reaches the farthest and the most remote regions in Fiji. The data provided today represents just the beginning of what we envisage. In the coming months, the Ministry of Justice plans to expand its efforts, conducting more awareness campaigns and proactively connecting the unconnected. Madam Speaker, this is the ultimate goal of the Ministry of Justice, to ensure that no Fijian is left behind and that access to justice and essential legal services becomes a reality for all. If I may just highlight, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Ministry also assists in terms of the approval and facilitation of grants in the Ministry of Trade that resulted in 1,000 grants for people in Bua, 56 in Lebuka, 6 in Andonumai, 3 in Lautoka, 25 in Suva, and 17 applications still pending. That represents about 340 people being assisted with small grants from the Ministry of Trade. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm also pleased to provide a further update to this August House on the electoral legislation review and reform and the public consultation under the chairmanship of the part-time commissioners for the electoral reform, retired Chief Justice Fataki. The elected team has made significant progress in its nationwide public consultations, recording strong engagement across various avenues. In the Central Division, the consultations were held for over 5 days, with high attendance recorded at the Super Civic Center, Burindawa, in Naitasiri, Nasinu in area and venues, and the Nabua area. Although low attendance was noted at Korobo, Bure, and Nosori Market Hall, important valuable submissions were still received. In the Eastern Division, full attendance was recorded at the Ovalau sessions, including an evening meeting at Loponi Village. Consultations were also scheduled across 7 districts in Rotuma, with preparations including translations of materials into the Rotuman language to ensure inclusiveness. Across most venues, strong participation from women, men, and children were evident, particularly within the informal settlements and rural communities. Participation levels have steadily increased throughout the consultation period, boosted by the enhanced media coverage and active participation with organizations such as the Fiji Council of Social Services, the Ministry of Women, and of course the Ministry of Itauke Affairs. The inclusive approach taken by the electoral review team has ensured active involvement from women, youth, and marginalized groups, reflecting our shared commitment to ensuring that every voice counts in shaping Fiji's democratic processes. Madam Deputy Speaker, the review team plans has this week and next will continue consultation in Northern and Western Division, as well as in the Maritime Island regions of Lau and Kandabu, where turnout is expected to remain strong or even increase further. Having said that, I call on members of this August House, please reach out to your communities, your youth groups, your women's group, and invite them to be part of the public consultations. The schedule is available at the Fiji Law Reform Commission website, in most major mainstream media outlets, and through official email of GovNet users. All MPs on both sides of the House who use GovNet mail, please share the public consultations schedule widely. Madam Deputy Speaker, additionally, this August House is also advised that the proper and safe destructions of the sensitive material from the 2022 general elections began on the 3rd of March and has been completed on the 4th of April. The procedures and processes are well established and were observed by major political parties from the 2022 general elections. The materials being destroyed include ballot papers and other sensitive items that were used during the previous election, in line with established procedures. A total of 2,066 ballot boxes were opened and sensitive materials were destroyed. Of the 2,066, there were 1,435 election day ballot boxes, 618 pre-poll ballot boxes, and 1 overseas ballot box. And I wish to provide a progress update, Madam Deputy Speaker, on the work being undertaken to review and strengthen Fiji law and justice sector. Many of us here, indeed many of our very senior legal professionals, will recall that the Ministry of Justice has always been an extension of another ministry or government agency. In reviewing archive records and annual reports, the first archive recorded annual report of the Department of Justice was in 1997, when it was with the Department of Correction. In our recent history, the Ministry of Justice has been an extension of the Attorney General's chambers. We were in the shadows till June 2024, through the wisdom of the Honorable Prime Minister, to appoint a minister, a permanent secretary, and most recently, an assistant minister for justice. The separation to ensure access to justice and administration of justice is timely. It is necessary and has indeed demonstrated the vast needs of our people that have been neglected over the past administrators. In our attempt to ensure we go about the provisions of services in a systematic manner, ensuring alignment with the Vision 50 and the National Development Plan, we have embarked on a strategic journey to look at who we are, where we have come from, where are the gaps, and what we need to do aligned to a coalition government vision. Under the umbrella of the Bubale Partnership, we have begun a systematic review of our plans, our processes and policies. The review led by distinguished son of Fiji in the former ambassador, Mr. Luke Donivalu, aims to enhance transparency, accountability, and performance across the law and justice sector, and ensure that the Ministry of Justice is aligned to Fiji's national development priorities and the Australian international development policy. Madam Deputy Speaker, to facilitate close cooperation with national stakeholders, Mr. Donivalu is attached to the Ministry of Justice for a period of 3 months. This attachment ensures direct engagement, strengthening the depth, the relevance, and ownership of the review outcomes. I'm confident that Mr. Donivalu's leadership and expertise and the strong collaboration across our sector stakeholders, this important function review will result in a practical, actionable recommendations that will chart the course of a stronger, more resilient law and justice sector for the benefit of all Fijians. This review presents a strategic opportunity to align our law and justice sector with best practices while remaining sensitive to Fiji's unique context. It reflects a commitment to good governance, transparency, accountability, and the rule of law. The review is being implemented through the Fiji-Australia Institutional Partnership Program, IPP, which enables rapid targeted support for Fiji's ongoing stability, prosperity, and resilience. We thank the Australian government for their partnership and anticipate that with this review, the outcome documents and the future plans, the Ministry of Justice will be stronger and will be a standalone ministry for many more years and administrations. I thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his wisdom and assure this August House and the people of Fiji that we will ensure access to justice for all our people. Before I take my seat, Madam Deputy Speaker, I wish to highlight again the fundamental principle of access to justice and our role as administrators of justice. Access to justice is a basic principle for the rule of law. In the absence of access to justice, people are unable to have their voice heard, exercise their rights, challenge discrimination, or hold decision makers accountable. Our commitment to access justice means taking all necessary steps to provide a fair, transparent, effective, non-discriminatory, and accountable service that promotes access to justice for all. Delivery of justice should be impartial and non-discriminatory. Our registries must be strengthened. There must be vigorous monitoring and evaluation. We must empower the poor and marginalized to seek response and remedies for injustice. We must improve legal protection, legal awareness, and legal aid, civil society and parliamentary oversight, addressing challenges in the justice sector such as the police brutality, inhumane prison conditions, lengthy pre-trial detentions, and impunity for perpetrators of sexual and gender-based violence and other serious conflict-related crimes, and strengthening the linkages between formal and informal structures. There has been much overlap, and there will continue to be overlap. Our Ministry of Justice will ensure that we continue to provide access to justice for all our people. Madam Deputy Speaker, access to justice is a basic principle of the rule of law. In the absence of the access to justice, people are unable to have their voice heard, exercise their rights, challenge discrimination, or hold decision makers accountable. I again reaffirm a commitment that the Ministry of Justice will ensure access to justice for all our people, and we will do so with integrity, collaboration, fairness, justice, and the rule of law. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable